That Friday evening began like any other. The warm aroma of roasted chicken filled our small suburban home, and my husband, Daniel, had promised to be home early. We were expecting a guest, his boss, Mr. Harrison. I didn't know him well, only from brief introductions at company events. Daniel had always spoken highly of him, saying he was sharp, generous, and deeply respected in their industry. But I wasn't entirely at ease. Daniel had mentioned over breakfast that Mr. Harrison wanted to discuss something important with both of us. His tone carried an odd mix of excitement and tension, and when I asked for details, he simply smiled and said, "Let's wait until tonight." By the time the doorbell rang, the sun had dipped low, casting an orange glow across the living room walls. I opened the door to find a tall man in his late 50s, with salt and pepper hair, an immaculate navy suit, and a warm, practiced smile. He greeted me politely, holding a small bouquet of tulips, my favorite. I found that thoughtful, though it immediately made me more curious about the nature of his visit. We sat around the dining table, Daniel pouring glasses of sparkling water, while Mr. Harrison complimented my cooking. We exchanged pleasantries, talked briefly about his drive over, and then he leaned forward, folding his hands. His eyes shifted from Daniel to me, and his tone became deliberate. "I've been thinking about something for quite a while," he began. "And after seeing the way Daniel handles his work and hearing about you, Mrs. Green, I believe you're the right people to help me with something very important." The room felt smaller suddenly. My mind raced with possibilities. Was Daniel being offered a promotion? Was this about a big project? A transfer? But then Mr. Harrison took a slow breath and continued. "I've been planning to step back from running the company in the next 2 years. The trouble is, I don't have family who can take over. And I refuse to sell it to a corporation that will gut everything I've built. I want to pass it on to someone I trust, someone who values people over profits." He paused, letting his words sink in. "I want Daniel to take over the business when I retire. And I'd like you, Mrs. Green, to be part of it, not just as a spouse, but as someone involved in shaping the community programs and outreach projects we've been quietly funding." I froze. This wasn't what I expected at all. My background was in teaching, not business, yet his tone carried a strange certainty, as if he'd already envisioned me at the center of it all. "Mr. Harrison," I said carefully, "I'm flattered, but I don't know anything about running a company." "That's exactly why I want you," he replied with a faint smile. "You have no agenda, no attachment to corporate politics. You care about people, and that's what the company needs." Daniel looked both stunned and proud. "Sir, this is a huge honor. But why tell us now?" "Because," Mr. Harrison said, leaning back, "I've had some health scares lately. Nothing too alarming for the moment, but enough to make me think about the future. I want to start mentoring you both, not just in business, but in carrying forward the values that matter." For the next hour, he painted a picture of what this new role would mean. We'd be traveling to different branches, meeting staff, learning the company's history, and eventually leading it together. It sounded overwhelming, and yet strangely exciting. But then came the part that truly left me speechless. "There's one more thing," he said. "I'm not offering this as a business deal. I don't want your money. The only condition is that you both commit to protecting our employees, no mass layoffs, no cutting corners. And I'll sign over majority ownership when the time comes." I stared at him, my fork frozen midair. People didn't just hand over multi-million-dollar companies. And yet here he was, doing exactly that, based on trust and character. When he finally left that night, tulips still bright on the kitchen counter, Daniel and I sat in silence for a long time. My heart was still pounding, not from fear, but from the enormity of what had just happened. A single evening had changed the course of our lives. Over the next few weeks, we started shadowing Mr. Harrison, meeting employees, and learning about the inner workings of the business. I began helping with community projects, funding school programs, organizing food drives, and I realized that his trust in me wasn't misplaced. One evening, months later, I asked him why he'd chosen us. "Because," he said quietly, "I've built a lot of things in my life, but nothing matters if it doesn't last. And I believe you two will make it last." That night, I understood something important. Sometimes life's most shocking moments aren't about scandal or drama. Sometimes they're about unexpected kindness, trust, and responsibility that changes you forever. And so, the woman who once thought she'd live quietly as a teacher's wife found herself preparing to help lead a company because of one dinner, one suggestion, and one man's belief that we could do more than we ever imagined.